everyone. I am so excited because we are just days away from the release of my very first book, Dear God, Can You Hear Me? Devotions for the Weary-Hearted. You know, yesterday I came home, I was at a hair appointment for the afternoon, and my boys were bringing boxes, and I'm like, I know what this is. It's all my books. So I come into the house, they're all over the counter, all these boxes, and we break one open, and the boys start pulling these books out, and my 2-year-old starts holding books, and there are 300 copies of my new book. I sat there and I'm watching their faces and they're so excited and they're so proud, right? And they're like, this is so awesome. And I sat there and I was like, you know, I thought I was going to sit there and feel really proud, really like, yeah, I did that. Look at my name on this book. But I actually sat there and I was staring at their faces, and I'm realizing something much deeper that I think God has been doing all along. You see, we left a church that we helped plant 1.5 to 2 years ago, and it was a really, really hard decision. And it wasn't just hard on me and my husband, it was hard on my family. Because my boys had gotten so used to being at church and they had made friends, and they ran the church almost like it was their house, and we were there every single day. And one day for them, all of a sudden we say, hey, we have to leave. And I tried to explain, I tried to make sense of it for them, because this is 2 years ago. They can't comprehend why we would. And the decision was made because we did not stand the same on doctrine and theology. And it just had come to a point where it was healthier for everyone involved that we stepped away. My boys couldn't seem to understand. And so the way that I tried to explain it to them, I'm like, okay, how can I teach and love, and how can I make this make sense? And I don't want them to ever like hate or be mad at God or the church or Christians, or, you know, it was such a sensitive time and topic. And we just kept saying, you know, when God asks you to do something, you do it, because it doesn't make sense most of the time. When God says, this is what I want you to do, I know that the waves are coming and I know the boat is rocking, but I want you to step out of the boat, then you do it. And my boys at that time, they just couldn't seem to understand, because they're missing their friends. They wanted to be there. They wanted the extra time there. They wanted to feel like they were back at home again. And we're like, you know, I know it doesn't make sense, but God is faithful. God is good. And so for the last 1.5 to 2 years, they've seen the struggle. They've seen me wrestle. They've seen me sit here in tears and sorrow and wonder where God is and what he's doing. And now we're sitting here opening 300 books. And so, yes, they're excited because their mom has a cool book out, but I'm sitting here realizing that they're experiencing God's faithfulness. They're experiencing his goodness. They're seeing that God stays true to his promises. They're seeing that those steps of faith, though they don't make sense, God is faithful. And I was thinking about this because I've had multiple conversations this week. I don't think it's on accident, leading up to the book release on Friday, and I have a speaking engagement that day, and it's all leading up to this day. And I'm like, man, so many people are in the waiting. So many people are holding on to that promise. So many people have surrendered and given everything to God, but then they're sitting back and wondering, where are you at? Where's my promise? Where's my result? Where is the fruit of everything that I've sown? Where's my harvest? Where's my promise, God? In this book, I hope and I pray that is how this book was written, is that 1.5 to 2 years of time sitting in the waiting and just waiting and questioning and doubting and being so uncertain that I ever even heard God in the first place. Because maybe I made it all up. Because what I was seeing in my circumstances around me looked nothing like what I knew that he wanted for me, what he had called me to do, and what he asked me to do. It looked nothing like that. But maybe it's in the waiting that healing happens. true healing happens. I think so often our eyes and our minds are so set on one result and one outcome and one healing. One thing that we're like, God, you promised me that. But God's like, hey, I love you. I care for you. I see you, and I see hurt that you've been carrying around for so long. I see brokenness that needs redeemed before I take you here. I see so much more of you than you can even see. And so during this waiting time, I'm going to clean all that up. I'm going to start restoring. I'm going to start healing. I'm going to start redeeming the parts of you that you never knew needed healed. And so today I just want to encourage you. That was just a thought that came through my head while I'm watching my children open up this book. And though it's really cool and though we're really excited and, it's 300 copies and we're like, hopefully they sell, I have no idea what God's doing. But I know that in this moment, I'm standing here and realizing that not only is my life being affected and that my mind is being blown by God's faithfulness, but I can only believe that my children who have been sitting in this also for 2 years are realizing that when we trust God, that He shows up. That when we're obedient to His call, when we stand firm in our convictions, that God honors that He sees it, that He takes care of us. And so today, if you are in the waiting, if you're sitting here and you're like, I've already given everything to God and nothing's happening, I hope this encourages you. Because though it only took 1.5 to 2 years for these things to start clicking and me to start realizing what God is doing, I know people have been sitting in decades of waiting. But God's going to show up. And I think He's doing it in bigger ways than we can even imagine. Because for me, it's cool. But to sit there and watch my kids now realizing that God is always faithful, and I can only pray and I can only hope that my life is this testimony of what happens when you trust God fully and completely. And I hope that this season of my life and their life is one that they will never forget. And that as they, start to have families and they start walking through their own really hard times, that they can remember back. And this can be a moment where we say, hey, remember this? Remember how God showed up? Remember how He redeemed? Remember how He healed and He made a way? Remember that? Because if God can do it for me, He can do it for you too. So I pray that this encourages you this morning. 2 days. Until the book can be in your hand. And as always, I'm so grateful for you for your support, that you're supporting me and that you're supporting my family. And it means more than literally I can put into words. Because not only is it supporting us, it's also like encouraging me. It's just every single book that's sold, every single word that's said, it's another word that I can put into my toolbox to be like, God, I see you. God, I understand what you're doing. God, thank you for building people around me. God, thank you for using me. God, thank you for entrusting me with this mantle. Thank you. So I just want to thank you for everything that you do, because it doesn't go unnoticed. And because of this is a huge reason why I can still stand confidently today, knowing that God uses the waiting. So I will talk to you guys soon. I hope you enjoy the book. It will be released in a few days, and I am so excited to hear how it touches you, meets you exactly where you're at.